Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 2 of the Apron Bumps Wrestling Podcast. I am your host, the Braster himself, Braden Mayhew, along with my wonderful, wonderful co-host, Mr. Gabe Nozid. How are we doing tonight, Gabe?
I'm doing good, Braden. Thanks for having me again.
Still kicking here. We're still kicking here talking about wrestling. Last time you were with us, we mentioned and predicted the whole WrestleMania weekend NXT TakeOver Tampa Bay card, and now we're going one little step further, but there have been a few matches that have been announced, so the WWE helped us out on this video, but I mean, we would have probably predicted this stuff anyway, because, I had some of this format written before most of the stuff that they're going to confirm has been confirmed. So we're going to go over the entire predictions for WrestleMania 36. Now, here we go. We're going to go through a couple things here. So we're just going to talk about the 2 world title matches. They've already been 100% confirmed. We will give our opinions on both of them. I'll talk about how I predicted that Goldberg was going to win the belt even before he did, because the show was formatted before Super Showdown. Like days before Super Showdown, this show was formatted before we decided to record it. So we're going to talk about this match that predates my predictions, but it was the first match announced for WrestleMania at all, and that is Brock Lesnar defending the WWE Championship against Drew McIntyre, and what I imagine will be the last match of the card. I can't imagine anything else going on last for this upcoming WrestleMania show. I am looking forward to this one. I think this could be just a great Haas fight if Lesnar is motivated to perform well on the last match of the show. But I mean, he's had some good WrestleMania performances before. Drew is gonna hang with him, take the shots, hopefully look like a beast in doing so, and I think this is potential to be something very, very good and very, very special, especially if it culminates with what it should culminate with, and that is Drew McIntyre winning his first world championship in WWE. What do you think about this here match, Gabe?
This is the WWE title, right? This is
yes.
Not the Universal?
Yep, this is the WWE Championship.
That's the SmackDown title, correct?
Well, it was until Lesnar quit SmackDown and went to Raw in the fall.
Oh, I totally forgot that the Universal title is on SmackDown.
Yeah.
Then again, I don't watch SmackDown.
I rarely watch it these days, too. Spoiler alert, folks. I don't see it much. It's the worst show of the week.
It's really bad.
Yeah.
I missed it when it went live.
Well, it's still live on Fridays. It's still live.
I mean, having the live title in it, because I thought that was
Oh yeah, when they just went live on every Tuesday, and Tuesday was SmackDown night. Yeah.
They were already I don't know. It's just
that was the era in the house that AJ Styles built and all that stuff. Yeah. It was pretty decent in 2016. A lot better than it is now. I'll tell you that much.
We can get into that another time.
Yeah, we could. That's a whole other topic for a whole other day. We thought we'd just do a quick quip about it. Again, you're digging the Lesnar McIntyre stuff, because I know I'm certainly pretty into this program myself.
I'm digging it too. I just know that McIntyre, they can't let him lose this one. It's his time to shine. He's had this moment, I guess, ever since his TV debut, where McMahon went out his way and said he's the chosen one. And just to see him progress throughout the years, of course he had his his rough patches, his 3MB stuff, but he's been rising into prominence after WWE coming back. He won NXT Gold, so there you have it. He's ready for big titles, and it's his time, winning it from Brock Lesnar nonetheless.
After winning the Royal Rumble, may I add?
After the Rumble too, if they make him lose this, I want to say I'll be more mad than when Shinsuke lost, because I think that would perfect just give him the.
Actually, this is going to be much worse.
This is going to be much worse
than that, in my opinion, because I'm pretty sure this is going to be going on last. I think this is the match that's going to go on last. I'm convinced of it. And the reactions he's had since winning the Rumble have been phenomenal. The crowd is 100% behind him. And why would you book a guy just to make him job in the big match? And you need a full-time champion going forward. It's fine to put it on the part-timers building into WrestleMania to do a big thing for the show, but then you need full-time guys to be holding the belt afterward, because they're going to be there week to week. So Drew has to win, at least I think. But we could save that definitive stuff for the actual predictions for the show, which will come closer to when it happens. It's about a month away from now. But I'm digging the WWE Championship stuff. Everything they're doing with Brock and Drew is great. The angle they did last week on Raw, where Drew claymored him, I think, a total of 3 times to send the biggest statement possible and hold up the belt. It was awesome, and we'll see where they're going to go in the next few episodes of Raw. The other World Championship match that is happening now is Goldberg defending the Universal Championship against another spear spammer, Roman Reigns. So, I mean, if it's going to be a quick burst of guys just tackling each other for a while and it ends within 5 minutes, but it's like a really physical 5 minutes, it could be really good, I guess. Or, no, not really good. It probably won't be really good, but like at least it'll be like something to see. It'll be 2 bulls like crashing into each other. But it's got to be kept short and sweet. And, I mean,
is like, how long is this match?
Yeah, it's not going to be long. I can guarantee you it's not going to be long. But it is a spectacle. But like Goldberg's really old. He hasn't looked good in his last few matches, and even those have been short. I mean, the one with The Fiend was pretty bad. He almost couldn't even jackhammer the dude, and Roman had to work with a more capable Undertaker 3 years ago, and that main event was horrible at WrestleMania 33, and Undertaker at that point, even then, was much more capable than Goldberg has ever been. So, I don't know, this has if they keep it short and sweet and I guess layer it properly, it could be something to watch, but it could also be, as JR would say, it could end up being bowl and shoe ugly. So, I don't know. What do you think about this here SmackDown World Championship bout?
I'm not excited. It's gonna happen like quick in, quick out. You're just there for the entrances, to be honest, and then I guess the result, which I'm predicting this, Brain. It's gonna take. How long was the Fiend match?
It was like I think under 2 minutes, like maybe a minute and a half, 90 seconds.
So the real prediction is how long it's gonna take. I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna be generous and say 3 minutes.
That's probably all the time that they need. So I hope they also go 3 minutes. So it's all they're gonna need. It's all Goldberg can do. And as I said, he's even struggling to do that these days. So, yeah. But I predicted this match was going to happen right before Super Showdown happened, because that's when I made this format, and I knew Goldberg was going to beat The Fiend for the belt. And,
I really didn't think he was going to win. I thought WWE would stick to their guns and, like...
Nope.
With The Fiend, but, I mean, then again, it's Vince.
Yeah, part-timers sell the show, you know. You got to have them on the card. Not only do we have to have them on the card, they need to be the champions going in, because that's the big draw. So that is your World Championship bout. So now on to the Women's Championship affairs. So we go from the Men's World Championship bouts to the Women's Championship matches. They've gotten a lot more importance at WrestleMania in the last few years. And as of this recording, I mean, I'm sure it's probably already happened by now, but I'm sure Shayna won that chamber match. I'm actually gonna go. I'm sure she did, but I'm gonna do a quick little look over of that card. I'm sure she did.
No, yeah, chamber just ended.
Did it just end? Did it just end?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we can look. Yeah, we're recording like right after chamber.
Yeah, we're recording like right after that pay-per-view is being done. So
we could look up chamber results right now.
I'm looking them up as is. Or if you got it up there, you can say. I'm sure she won. Like I am like I don't even really need to look it up because I know she's gonna win. They didn't do the bite angle for her to lose and one of the other women to go after the belt. Because I'm sure that is confirmed now for WrestleMania with her winning the chamber. And yes, she did. She most certainly did. And she submitted everybody. Every elimination was the Karafuda clutch. So that's that. So not only did Shayna win, but she eliminated every single person, including Asuka at the end. So
even Asuka, that's unbelievable.
Yeah, she submitted everybody. So now that is a foregone conclusion that Shayna Baszler is indeed wrestling Becky Lynch for the Raw Women's Championship at WrestleMania 36. that is now 100% confirmed as of Shayna's win at the Chamber. And the other match that is 100% confirmed was after Charlotte Flair won the Royal Rumble, the Women's Royal Rumble. She went for a few weeks teasing which title she would go for. And then NXT Women's Champion Rhea Ripley basically just goaded her and got her to choose her by, I got mind games, if you want to say that, just getting in her head, said, oh, you should challenge me, blah, blah, blah. And so Charlotte's like, okay, I'll go after the NXT Women's title. So now, because Vince must have seen Rhea and got infatuated or whatever, must have seen her and be like, oh, that girl needs to be on the WrestleMania card. Ripley's lucky in getting a championship match against the Golden Goose, Charlotte Flair herself, for the NXT Women's title, and that's the title that Flair has decided to go after, is Rhea Ripley in the NXT Women's title. And that was the first Women's Championship match confirmed, and technically it was the second match confirmed overall, because it was even confirmed before the Goldberg-Reigns match. What do you think about this bout, Gabe?
Let's see. I did have my doubts when Charlotte won, because I really, really want Shayna, but I feel happier as time progressed. Like, okay, we have Charlotte going for the NXT title, and then we have Shayna, from what you told me, tapping out everyone in the Chamber. So, Charlotte against Rhea Ripley. I'm not really that big into Rhea, but just knowing that, okay, we have a top contender, a multi-time women's champion.
Across both brands, and technically even NXT too, because she won the women's title there as well.
Going back to, I don't even say going back, like, attacking the NXT title and hoping to win it again is just a big statement, I guess.
And
NXT is the third brand.
Because even if this is, and it is probably going to be the only NXT title that's on the line, but it's the first time ever that a championship from the NXT brand is going to be on a main WrestleMania card ever. It's the first time ever this has ever happened, so it's kind of a big deal in that regard for the brand.
So it's definitely a big statement, especially to they're trying to eliminate AEW's. But obviously that's not going to happen anytime soon. But it's just respectable that they're gonna have Charlotte attack Rhea for the belt. So I think it's going to be a must see. I hope it's going to be 5 stars. I know they're both good workers, so nothing else to say. It's a match that I'm.
Yeah, you could have two really good workers, but if they have a styles clash or they just don't have that chemistry, a match you think could be really, really good can end up being like subpar. You just never know how people are going to click, right? So, I mean, I'm hoping for the best here. I hope they have a hell of a match because it'll really put NXT on the map going forward. But that's wait and see. And then lastly, we have the SmackDown Women's Championship. Now, before we decided to do this recording, I had the hardest time trying to figure out how in the hell they were going to add Bayley to this card. And I came up with the most lazy match to throw a bunch of women in, which is what they do anyway. So, like, I can't feel all that bad about it because they do it month to month. So I have Bayley in a fatal 4-way defending against Lacey Evans, Naomi, and I have Sasha Banks in there because I can't imagine them not giving Sasha a spot on the WrestleMania card. Like, yeah, she was tag champ last year and she was still on the show to drop them. I mean, she won't win this match, but I can't imagine her not being involved. And since it's like those two teams feuding with each other, I just see WWE throwing them in a 4-way for the title, and it'll not get a whole lot of time, and it'll probably be, as it should be, the most forgettable of the three, unfortunately, but that's just the sad state of affairs that the SmackDown Women's title is in 2020.
Yeah, it's really, it's horrible because I think, when was the last time I was really invested in the SmackDown title? I can't really think of that other than, I guess,
the last time I really cared about it, it was when Asuka was going for it, when Charlotte was champ. Yeah. And then she tapped, Becky, right? And they ended her streak, and then Carmella won the belt, and it was all down. I guess you could say when Becky was going for it again, when she got hot with the man stuff at the end of 2018, and all that stuff. But that's a while ago now, and now she's the Raw Women's champ. So it hasn't done well since Becky and Charlotte kind of left it for good. Or at least for now.
The only best possible outcome I could see, if they can do it, I guess, have an angle with Sasha. I could I could root for that, but yeah, knowing that they're more worried about the women's Raw title and the NXT title, the SmackDown title is probably going to be the potty break match. I don't know who's going to go for it. They're probably not going to even have it on the show, if anything, but maybe pre-show. I don't know. It's
now with 2 battle royals on there. I'm just thinking like.
I just can't think of anything for this belt.
Yeah, well, I have it. I said I have it as a fatal 4-way with Lacey Evans, Naomi, and Sasha, because those are the 4 women that are involved with each other and the champions involved. So maybe they're going to do something with the 4 of them. But maybe you're right. Maybe there'll be no SmackDown Women's title at all, and all 4 of them just get snubbed from the Mania card. That wouldn't be surprising either. We're
not watching SmackDown.
No, but like I read the results and kind of know what's going on. So like I imagine it's going to lead to something because they haven't given up with the Lacey stuff yet, and Naomi's still there, and I don't know. But if it does happen, it'll be the most forgettable of the 3, and it'll be lucky to happen at all on the main card, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, it's just there, floating in space. It's just another belt that WWE owns. That no, it's just something right now.
Because you just couldn't have like a women's for all women's, right? That could just be on Raw and SmackDown. You got to have one for every brand. You got to have belts for everything. I mean titles.
There's so
that's a naughty word there. Them belts, a title. My apologies. So yeah, that's that. So now we're gonna go on to say the not really quite the semi-mains, but more the legend versus so-and-so match, or the pure veterans matches. So the things that's going to fill out underneath the big-time championship matches. What are they? Stay tuned to find out. So now we are on to the upper card matches. So not the marquee championship matches, but the matches featuring the big stars against the people on the rise, or, that have been established in the last year that are being paired against, I don't want to say the part-timers, but that's what most of them are. They always have that section of WrestleMania, the dream matches, or this match, or that matches, the matches that are above the undercard, essentially. They're all over the show. They're probably usually used in the last half. The top one that I can think of that's obviously going to happen, they have not confirmed it yet, but we all know it's inevitable, is Edge versus Randy Orton. Going to be Edge's first WrestleMania in 9 years. Pretty well, it's been built since Orton took him out the night after the Royal Rumble with a concerto and an RKO on that surgically repaired and treated neck of Edge's, which was a great angle. It got a great response. It felt like WrestleMania was in the air as soon as it happened. The refs were incompetent, but other than that, just wave at him. He won't hit him with the chair. It'll stop him. Like, why don't you go physically in there and take it from him? No, just let poor Edge get his head crushed, and Matt Hardy, and everybody that Orton has demolished along the way. But I think it's all but a certainty that this match happens. And you might think, oh, well, it's Edge and Orton, and it's like, yeah, but they haven't wrestled in a really long time. And like, I'm talking 2007 was the last time these two guys went one-on-one.
One-on-one.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was right before Backlash 07. So, and they had a couple matches in like 04 before that, but they've never really had that many singles matches against each other. And which means
understandable since like they're both like at the time mega heels, right?
Yeah. So like it was like a one-off like rated RKO blow-off thing, which really should have been on pay-per-view, but they just did it on Raw. But obviously now they never had a match at WrestleMania against each other, so this will be a first for them. Even though they have competed in their like less than a handful of singles matches through the years, they have never had a singles match at WrestleMania. So you can't say it's been done to death on this platform because it's never happened at a WrestleMania. So, and because Edge hasn't wrestled in so long that it's just going to be fresh no matter what because of Edge's involvement.
I'm just wondering, like, is the match going to be just a regular singles match, or there's going to be a gimmick to it? I think if they are going to have a gimmick, maybe no DQ.
Yeah, or a street fight.
That chair could, both of them are well known for it, so.
And also, it's kind of being built like a blood feud. So you have the guy RKO the dude's wife and nearly end his like return comeback the night after he comes back, and they're just gonna lock up.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
There has to be some. it can't be a singles match, Braden. There's got to be a gimmick to this match.
Yeah, it's got to be something decent. That's like I don't think they should be putting Edge in like it's got to be. I think just like a street fight. They can brawl, wear the jeans, maybe. I don't know, like because jeans and the boots, like Shawn Michaels used to do, to show that it was a street fight and not just a regular match. He had to wear his street clothes. I think Edge just done that a few times, like way back in the day. He would wear jeans to a street fight. I think that's a fair point. I mean, as far as they've been advertising, because they started advertising, I think, sometime this week, whether it be on SmackDown. I think they advertised it at Chamber tonight. Edge is, in fact, advertised to appear on Raw tomorrow. So I think we're going to figure out not only is the match going to get confirmed, but we might even know the gimmick tomorrow night.
I'm saying it's no DQ. I hope it's not a chairs match, because chairs matches are dumb as hell. Like, those are never good matches.
They're never good, and it's like it's just the chair. So if I use a pipe, I'm gonna get disqualified. But I could just use the chair, and the chair is fine. Kind of a useless gimmick, but it was just used to. It's not a TLC pay-per-view, thankfully, so there doesn't need to be a gimmick for each letter of TLC. Like, thank God for that. But yeah, street fight, no DQ, some sort of brawl that the two can have, because it's pretty well a blood feud already. And yeah, I mean, after the guy RKO's your wife and nearly tries to kill you, you probably shouldn't just like try to lock horns.
Singles,
Yeah. So, but hey, there was that thing with Seth and Dean a while back where they just kind of locked up after all the shit that Dean did leading up to their bout at TLC like 2 years ago. But we won't pretend that happened. But we shall soon find out, because at the time of this recording, we are recording one day before Monday Night Raw goes on the air tomorrow night, which will be Monday, March 9th, 2020. So moving on from there, Edge and Orton doing whatever they're going to do. We go to The Fiend against John Cena, which was officially confirmed. This is not a prediction now, but it was already written. As I said, good old Super Showdown helped me see the future, if you will. And I had it written down a few days before Super Showdown happened. And now Friday night on SmackDown, they did confirm that The Fiend will face John Cena at WrestleMania. And they even played into the history of Cena beating Wyatt at WrestleMania 30, and that led to his big career downward spiral that led to him becoming a children's TV show host and Creepy Man in a Mask in the first place. So I guess they're going to build up upon that little rivalry they had in 2014, which is some good continuity. You don't see that too often in today's WWE.
It's like long-term, like...
Yeah.
Like 6 years ago?
It would be 6 years ago, yeah.
Yeah, that's incredible. Wow, I remember watching that match, actually. It's just incredible that they're still going at it, 2020, so it's...
Yeah, so that's who Cena's going to be paired with. I mean, it's pretty good. I mean, it's a big deal because John Cena has not wrestled in well over a year. It's going to be his first, unless he wrestles on TV beforehand, but I can't see it. I think they're just going to save him for the pay-per-view. So it's his first match in over a year, and The Fiend has to do damage control now. He got squashed by Goldberg to lose the belt. He's still over despite losing the championship because he lost it in a Saudi show that nobody watched. Thank God for that. Nobody watched the afternoon pay-per-view where he got squashed. They just know that he's no longer the champion. And now he's targeting Cena, and it's damage control. And I hope it just leads to Cena taking the mandible claw, The Fiend getting a win. Because if Cena beats him again, I think it's all downhill for The Fiend going forward.
That's not going to happen, Braden. Like, if that happens, I'll PayPal you, I don't know, $20.
I don't even need the $20 because incompetent booking happens all too often. I don't need to take anybody's money for it, right? So
it's no, The Fiend has to win this one.
He does have to win. This is big time damage control, right? Like, it's big time damage control. So in my mind, he does have to win, and there's no two ways about it. It's at least we know it's confirmed. We can talk fully on predictions when the show comes closer, but it is a match that's confirmed. One of only 4 matches confirmed for the show so far. So the ones that are confirmed so far, we pretty well talked about all of them. Lesnar and McIntyre for the WWE title. Goldberg and Reigns for the Universal Championship. Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair for the NXT Women's title. Oh, no, 5 matches, because we also have Becky Lynch and Shayna Baszler for the Raw Women's title, and, of course, The Fiend versus John Cena. So, yeah.
Brain, how do you feel about, what's his name, The Fiend's belt? Because, like...
Well, I'm sure... Well, I'm sure you're not going to see it now because, like, the idea being was that while he was the Fiend, that's what the championship looked like. But while he was Bray Wyatt, it looked like the normal championship. It was like it was just his entrance. Yeah.
Like, why did the Fiend need like his face as a belt? Like,
well, you could even go further and ask why did the Fiend need a title in the first place, right? But we. That could be its own, like the deep dive of Bray Wyatt's career, and we could go probably for hours talking about it. But I'm sure you'll see that Fiend belt no longer because he's no longer the champion. Also, maybe like the edgy kids might thought it'd be a cool toy. Did they ever duplicate or replicate it and sell it on WWE Shop?
Not that I know of.
Really? I'm shocked about that.
I'm an avid belt, like, I don't want to say collector because I don't have the money for that, but I have a good amount of like Jack Specifics and even like some.
But what you're saying is, if you could afford all those belts, you would.
Well, I would personally, but the Fiend belt, I have not seen anyone like have like a replica of that in any other than if they did, then they must have made it themselves. But other than that, it just looks really weird, and I don't even think WWE even had enough time to like
no, they didn't.
And like sell something like that. So,
well, needless to say, you're probably not going to see it going forward unless he regains the championship. But that's another talk for another time. And then, lastly, which seems to be a decently promoted match for the upper card, is The Undertaker returning to face AJ Styles. So, at the Saudi show that nobody saw, that infamous Super Showdown show, AJ was the last person in the gauntlet before Rey Mysterio was supposed to be like, he was the second last, and Rey was supposed to enter, and they were supposed to wrestle for this two-way trophy or whatever, this Middle Eastern trophy. And so the OC beat Rey up backstage, and AJ was trying to get the ref to declare him the winner. And then we see on the big screen that the OC got beat up. We see Undertaker's boots walk by. He makes his entrance, and he replaces Rey Mysterio. And he gives AJ one chokeslam, pins him, and steals that two-way trophy that AJ Styles thought was so important to him for this particular show. And last week on Raw, AJ beat Aleister Black. Yeah. I don't know about that, but he did beat him. And he pinned him with the Undertaker arms crossed pin thing that Undertaker's been doing for decades, and it seems like they're not dropping it. Seems like it's something they're committed to doing, having AJ bump for the dead man and be somebody who can at least attempt to carry him through a match of any period of time. So they're trusting AJ with quite a bundle there, because we all know the shape and the conditioning of the Undertaker in 2020. I don't mean to slam the guy, but the fact that he's still going is crazy to me. I can't believe he's still being booked for pay-per-views. To say he's beyond beat up would be an understatement.
What was his last match with Goldberg?
I believe so, yeah. Unless you want to count that like one chokeslam in Saudi.
I'm not counting that one. What was before his match?
Actually, no, I lie. His last actual match was when he needed to redeem himself, and he teamed with Roman against Shane McMahon and Drew McIntyre at Extreme Rules last year. That was actually his last match.
That happened?
Yeah, it opened Extreme Rules last year in the summer. It was the opener of a pay-per-view.
Hold on.
It was in July of last year. It was in July of last year. I know the Shane McMahon Best in the World era is something that a lot of us try to purposely forget. I know it's not anything we want to relive, but that match did happen. I remember it quite well, that match happened, because it was it was a month after the disaster with Goldberg, and the dead man wanted to redeem himself. And what better way than to have Roman and Drew work most of the match while you and Shane work your part-timer spots, right? But yeah, that was his last match. That was at Extreme Rules in July of last year. So it's been a while. It was the last time he was in a WWE ring, unless you count that the chokeslam to AJ a couple weeks back now. But yeah, it seems that that's the match, and I don't like AJ's chances of beating the dead man. I think he's taking a tombstone, he's getting pinned, and moves on with his career, I guess. But he is the guy who's being entrusted to have a match with The Undertaker this year.
I feel like we're all just praying that this match is a good match, because we've all wanted to see, the Phenomenal versus the Phenom. So it's a match that we hope is at least decent, you know, because this is AJ Styles, and
Yeah.
if he can pull anything out of, you know, beating up, you know, Mark Calloway, whatever, it's a great, like, probably great match out of him in 2020 in WrestleMania. So I hope
Yeah, because
AJ versus Undertaker is at least, you know, watchable.
yeah, I hope it's as good as it can be. It's a big thing on AJ for this match. I mean, they're trusting a lot with him here due to Undertaker's age and all that sort of stuff. And I mean, if AJ can't bring something great out of the Undertaker at this point, then I think it's just most of the matches are completely past in the dead man's career. But it's gonna happen, and it probably will be confirmed tomorrow or in the next few weeks. So that is that. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we move on to the undercard of the show. And boy, oh boy, did I throw it together just as quick as the creative team is going to for whatever ends up being on the undercard. Okay, so Gabe found something pretty interesting. We just mentioned on the upper card matches that there wasn't quite a Fiend replica belt on WWE Shop. Well, Gabe took it upon himself to go look for one, and apparently it exists. Now, Gabe, you're telling me, do go on about it. You have quite a few things to say about this here belt.
Yeah, this Fiend belt, this replica title from WWEshop.com, it's a limited time run, so pretty recent that they're selling this. Like, it wasn't like, I don't know, a couple months ago where you could buy this. Like, this is like right now at the time of recording, and it's not a couple hundred like every like replica belt you could get on the damn website. It's not. How much was it that you predicted originally?
I said it. I guessed at $350.
Yeah, and I said it's not in the hundreds.
So when he said it was not in the hundreds, so I went super. I lowballed him and said I assumed it was cheap. So then I threw $15 at you, and you said that wasn't correct. That was way off. And then I pitched 80, and which you said no, it's over the hundreds. In which time I finally clued in and figured out this thing is past the hundreds. So that leads me to think this thing is more than $999, which would mean the thing's $1,000, right?
Nope.
Not $1,000. It's $2,000.
No.
$3,000.
Nuh-uh.
$4,000.
Higher.
5,000 smackaroos.
Higher.
$6,000.
$6,499.99 American.
It's like 6.5. It's almost $7,000 goofy Halloween belt. I wonder if those Fiend fans are just looking at that and thinking, yeah, I can buy that belt.
You can put that money down on like a house.
Oh my God. Not let alone a house. How about all the insurance for your vehicle and everything else that you kind of need in everyday life? And here's this goofy belt based off a Halloween mask, and it's pushing. It's like over $6,000. What the hell?
I'm gonna just send you a screenshot.
like when I thought that the Fiend belt was on there, I'm like, there's no more than it's a couple $100. And here I am, and it's like they're charging. Oh my God! I mean, no, nobody's gonna buy that. At least I don't think nobody's gonna buy that.
When I first saw this belt, I'm like, okay, the replica should be like not that expensive compared to the world titles, because that's gold and like rhinestones that they could be putting on there on like a leather. But this dumb looking belt is 6.5K. It's not even that good looking. The strap itself, it's not even buttons. It's actual belt that they're using, and that's gonna be hard to put on already. It's just amazing that it's at this price.
That price is legendary for just so many reasons. I can't even with that price, you know? It's just like a 6.5K plastic belt, or maybe it's leather, I don't know, with the Fiend face Fiend mask face on it. Nobody's going to buy 6.5K. Unless anybody in the... I'll leave it to you in the comment section. Are any of you thinking about dropping 6.5K to remember that one time the Fiend held the Universal title and had his own goofy custom belt with it? If you are thinking about that, leave me a comment and say, Braster, I want that belt for 6.5K. And I'll be like, kudos to you, champ. Kudos to you. So, from that point on, we're now going to move on to the undercard for this here WrestleMania 36 show. Kevin Owens versus Seth Rollins is set to be definitely one of the first 5 matches of the show. Maybe it's going to be a singles match. I don't know. Owens has cost Rollins the tag titles. I know he did it on Monday. I missed the match tonight. I don't know if he cost them the belts tonight. He might have helped them end up losing. Did he? Yeah.
He walked in with like popcorn and like
just a distraction, and that led to them losing pretty much.
Yeah, he actually threw popcorn at Rollins, and that costed them to lose. I think it was, what's his name? Dawkins. Dawkins like pounced him after Owens threw popcorn in the face.
Okay. So he's cost Rollins the tag titles twice. They've been feuding forever, since the end of last year when Seth turned after Survivor Series. And certainly they're going to have a singles match against each other, and that could end up being a pretty damn good match. That's something solid for the undercard, something you can look forward to.
ROH throwback.
Yeah, especially if they get to work that style, which WWE has been more... But it's still weird. They still have their own, like, fingerprints on it. Yeah, it's kind of... They do some ROH stuff, but it still, like, has that WWE formula of the comeback and the this and the that, and it's like a hybrid of, like, the WWE style and that independent style. But these guys can make it work, and if they give in time, it could end up being one of the better matches of the show. So it's definitely something to look forward to. AOP and Murphy will get their spot at Mania by being there with Rollins. He's their leader. So even if they're not on the card in some kind of way, they will have a presence due to him just being on the show. From there, I assume that Daniel Bryan and Drew Gulak is going to have another match at WrestleMania. But I've kind of thought about it again, and if it is done, because Gulak apparently he couldn't figure out that yes lock, eh? Like he'd studied those tapes, but that yes lock, he had no counter for it. But he did not tap. He passed out, so they could play that up to continue this thing. It's just, I don't know where Bryan does going forward. If this is a one and done, I don't know what you do with him. I figure he has to be on the show. So I just assume that they're going to keep this thing going and they're going to do another match. But maybe they won't, but I can't see Bryan not being on the card. The only other thing I could maybe put in this spot is, say, the United States Championship, Andrade to defend for the millionth time against either Humberto Carrillo, Rey Mysterio, or a combination of the three. Maybe they do a 4-way with Angel Garza, and maybe they tease some friction between Andrade, Garza, and Zelina Vega being the manager for both of them. I don't know. They either continue the Bryan Gulak thing, or maybe the U.S. title fits in here. I think that's an interchangeable one or the other. I just don't really know which one to go with in this particular instance. What do you think, Drew? What do you think, Gabe, going forward? Do you think Drew makes the card after you couldn't figure out the yes lock, or not so much?
I mean, for me, it's most likely going to continue from what happened in Elimination Chamber. It's I think if they are willing to, I guess, push Drew Gulak, just like how they pushed, what's his name, Ali up, just kept putting Ali with, like, more main eventers, I guess Daniel Bryan's a great person to put over Gulak. And I've always been a big Gulak fan. I've met with people who have worked with him, who've trained under them. They've all loved his, I guess, his leadership and in-ring style. I think it'll just be great to have him finally with the main roster. I think he should just be, even if he takes a loss, a match with Bryan again on WrestleMania would be great.
Yeah, it's just I can't think. It's the program. I don't think it's done. At least I don't think so. This has got some legs. Bryan seems to be having fun. He's pitching to work with these guys, by the way. He pitched to work with Ali last year. He pitched Gulak to work with now, and they're listening to him, and they're giving him Drew for at least a match, and I think Bryan's pushing to maybe get him on the WrestleMania card, and I'm sure Brian pulled some strings to make sure that Kofi Mania happened last year because of the crowd reaction and all that, and the company listened to him. So I think he's pushing for Drew Gulak to wrestle him at WrestleMania, and that's what they're gonna do. So I'm still solid in my prediction that they will get another match and it will be on the main card, and that's good for Drew. That's probably the biggest spot of his career up to this point.
So too. Yep, that's all I can say, to be honest.
And then I have potentially the Kabuki Warriors, that being the team of Asuka and Kairi Sane, defending the WWE Women's Tag Team titles against the team of Natalya and the female Undertaker, Beth Phoenix. And what I mean by that is that she appears for that one legend spot a year at WrestleMania, teaming with Natty. It's been told that this match has been penciled in, but it is far from confirmed. But since the women's tag titles were on the line last year, I am willing to believe that they're probably going to be on the line again. Even if it's not Natty and Beth, they're just the team that I heard were penciled in for the Mania card. It could be another team, but I think it's likely that the Kabuki Warriors and their belts have a match at the show. What do you say, Gabe?
I heard that they're repackaging Iconics, so how much time left? A month? I don't know. They could come out of nowhere.
Yeah, they got like 4 shows on both Raw and SmackDown to build this up, right?
Yeah, so I don't know, I think it'd be good because weren't they like the second champions to hold it, right?
They were the people to end Sasha and Bayley's inaugural reign, and they were the second reigning tag champs.
Yeah, so I could see them coming back fresh from whatever they're going through right now. I don't know if it's injury or whatever, but they're being repackaged, so that's good. Question mark. I mean, I always liked that. Like, I always liked them. I just thought that they never connected with the audience, or most of the audience. I just liked them because I watched them in NXT, and I guess to some they're just another form of Lay Cool. I'm not sure, so I hope this repackage come in. And then they could, hopefully, just take the belts back at Mania.
Right.
I got nothing else to pitch for the women's tag belt. So.
Well, it's just I heard there's a big rumor going around that it's penciled in, and Natty and Beth were the big names being thrown out. And since the titles were on the line last year, I think that's looking good for this year. And especially since Asuka and Kairi Sane have been featured on a lot of pay-per-views recently, so I think it's just easy that they make the Mania card. Which leads us into the last tag team title match that I have listed for this here show and for the undercard, which is Miz and Morrison against the Usos for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. At the end of the Elimination Chamber tonight, Miz and Morrison got this creative double pin with Morrison doing a bridge and Miz doing his feet on the ropes. They did an illegal... Well, I can't really say illegal. There's no rules in Elimination Chamber, but a double cheap pin on one of the Usos to retain the tag titles, and it just seems like they're building something going forward. Miz and Morrison just came back to the company. I can see them giving him a WrestleMania spot, especially with him teaming with The Miz. And the Usos are a featured tag team on SmackDown, and they can kind of see that they kind of got screwed at the end of the chamber, and that gives it legs going forward for them to get just a traditional tag shot at WrestleMania 36. And the reason I went with this is because as much as I like the Street Profits and they just won the Raw Tag Team Championships, all they seem to do at pay-per-views is shout backstage and do Saturday Night Live-esque comedy routines. And I think that's what you're going to see at Mania, just them celebrating and acting like goofs with the Raw belts and chilling with celebrities and doing jokes. And I think Miz and Morrison defending the titles is a lot more likely than the Street Profits, just based on how things have gone so far for the Street Profits on the main roster. What say you, Gabe?
I have nothing for the SmackDown tag belts. I am liking what they're doing with Miz and Morrison. And what you said they did a dirty win at Elimination Chamber?
Yeah, like Miz had his feet on the ropes, and Morrison also, it was like a double pin with Miz's feet on the ropes. Was the finish.
Whoever they're going against, I just see them keep it going with those two.
Oh yeah, but I'm just saying, like, the Usos is an easy team to pair them with for that Mania title defense. And I see these titles being on the line more so than the Raw ones, because Miz and Morrison are probably being seen as a bigger deal, and they're probably going to get that WrestleMania spot more than the Street Profits. I just see that as being more likely.
All right. Well, I got no other thoughts then. I think your pitch is good. It's mine.
Alrighty, so now we are going to move on to that free little segment you get on YouTube for 2 hours before the main pay-per-view kicks off, and that, of course, being the pre-show. So last, and it's certainly least for a reason, we're on the pre-show, which they do for an unnecessary 2 hours before their 5-hour pay-per-view follows it. Just completely ridiculous. I just have the safest picks of all time. So for actual matches, I got Liv Morgan against Ruby Riott on the pre-show. If that even makes it there. I mean, I was more confident about it before that Chamber match and what's happened, but I could see these two just being dumped in the women's battle royal. I don't really know.
That's where I see them.
You know, like, I just had it listed because it's kind of a feud on Raw, kind of, and it might be given some attention, but you really never know. And then poor Otis and Dolph Ziggler. I know they're going to have a match, and it just seems like something that they're going to throw on the pre-show. I just see Otis being on YouTube and not on the main card itself. Maybe they will shoehorn him in there, and one of the championship matches I have listed will get booted to the pre-show instead, but that remains to be seen. I just feel that, Dolph is the pre-show stealer, right? I mean, he's had many matches on the pre-show, and Otis is a tag guy. I don't know. Do you think this is more pre-show the main card? Do you think I'm wrong for putting it in?
Definitely. I don't see them main card. I mean,
at all, right?
Worthy, but like, it's just the material they're giving off. It's not main event, even main card worthy of
right.
being on the pay-per-view. It's good pre-show material.
And then of course we have the two battle royals. So we got the women's battle royal. They've been doing that for the last few years. And they have the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, which is the men's battle royal. And literally these two matches only exist to get the entire roster on the card. Just for guys to go over the top rope for 5 seconds and collect their paycheck. And, I think...
something we don't know, Braden. That's... There's always some type of, like, big match for...
Yeah, I mean, there's always that pre-show stealer that everybody's talking about when Mania's done, and wow, how'd they not put that on the main card now? They bullshit through the pre-show. They treat it like you would expect them to treat it, and fans treat it in the same way. And now I've heard people say, oh, but lots of people on YouTube watch that. Sure, but it's still not the main card. In the eyes of most casual fans, and even me, a hardcore, the pay-per-view is the pay-per-view, and it starts when it starts, and the opener is the opener. Whatever takes place before that is just the free thing to entice you. It's the prelims. Are you telling me that the UFC prelims is like being on the actual UFC card when it kicks off at 10 p.m.? It's not.
No.
And I saved the segment for last, and it's certainly least. What do you think overall about the way WWE does its pre-show? Because I know I personally skip them and don't spend any time watching them.
No one in real life, nobody personally, nobody even in the comment section like talk about the pre-show. No one talks about its results. The only people talking about it are WWE itself. So it's whatever happens in the pre-show stays in the pre-show. That's it. As far as the Rumble or the Battle Royale, I can't think of any like winners. If whoever wins, yay.
Well, they're going to be a throwaway winner anyway, right? So who cares?
Yeah, because like everyone who's won it, like what happened? Look at the women first. I think it was Naomi and Carmella.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
And then we're going to go through the men. So the only one who had any promise was Cesaro when he won the first one, and then they completely botched it afterward.
Done something with that. When he won it, I actually felt like, okay, he's going to go somewhere.
Also, may I also remind you that it was the only one to ever make the main card, too.
Yeah, it was a main card.
Oh, no, the one Baron Corbin one was on the main card, too, but I completely forgot about that. With Shaq. Shaq was in there.
Shaq came out of nowhere.
Yeah. Shaq was in there.
Here with, Big Show?
So, 2015 was won by Big Show. He threw out Mizdow, and that That was on the pre-show. Then 2016 was won by Corbin, and that was on the main card, and it was like
I felt really good about that one when Corbin won it because hey, it's an NXT guy, and he didn't even have an entrance because that was Shaq and Big Show having the spotlight just to have Corbin win it. That was monumental for me. So I like that.
Yeah, and then so Corbin won that, and then 2017 on the pre-show was won by the legendary Mojo Rawley. Can't forget about that when Gronk, I guess, helped him win. Gronk was out there, and he helped him eliminate Jinder. Legendary moment.
I feel like the only one that really got elevated was his name from a Battle Royale. So.
Yeah. So and then 2018, who won in 2018? Oh, Broken Matt or Woken Matt won in 2018.
Yeah, he didn't do anything.
He didn't do anything afterward. Victory. And then last year, who won the Andre Battle Royal last year?
Who won that one?
I don't even remember. I have to look that up. That's pretty sad. But then again, I didn't watch it when it happened anyway. I only read the results afterward. Oh, okay. So again, Braun Strowman won it. So maybe you could say he was the most successful winner. Okay.
I mean, from that Battle Royale, I think he would have done okay without it. I mean.
Yeah. But yeah, you can arguably say he was the most successful winner because at least he's like.
And he had like a little angle with the SNL guys.
Yeah, and he last eliminated them too. Yeah. So that's our thoughts on the pre-show, and I'm sure everybody who's listening to this can't really quite disagree. Because why should you? So lastly, before we go, like all my content, there's always time for the cheapest of plugs. Now, before I go any further, if you are new to the channel and you just find this podcast, or even if you're listening, just subscribe to whatever platform it is, or just keep it in your favorites or add it to your playlist to whatever. Again, we haven't quite figured out what podcast platform we're going to put it on, but whatever one it is, just if you're listening to it on whichever one we do end up choosing, just find a way that you can keep listening to it. If you dig what you heard, would be awesome. If you found this on YouTube and you're watching it here through the Brayster channel, do hit that subscribe button, the like, and give the comments on what you think is going to be happening at WrestleMania 36. And lastly, you can add me on Discord if you care to talk wrestling, gaming, all that good stuff that this channel is all about. You can add me. My name is Brayster, #9848. Gabe, the floor is yours. Do the plugs you will.
Thank you again, Brain, for having me here. I just love doing this podcast with you. But the plugs, let's just say Twitter and Instagram is Gabe Nozid, just one word, no spaces, no real uppercases. Unless it's Discord, I guess uppercase G and N, Gabe Nozid. And then YouTube is just Nozid, Nozid, and that's about it. I make sketch videos on YouTube, on Instagram, Twitter. Whatever comes out of my head, I'll just post whatever I think about. Maybe about the newest, what's her name? Shayna Baszler, newest contender. I'll tweet about that probably after this.
Yeah, so you heard it from us both, folks. So we're going to Spanish fly on out of here, and we will see you all next time. Take care.